What's happening, y'all? Listen, it's been a minute since I've been able to tap in with you guys. I miss you guys tremendously. I appreciate all of the continued love and support that you guys show. And the reason that I'm doing this video right here is because a lot of you guys have been commenting on the ReesaTeesa situation and asking me what my feelings were in the comment section. And instead of me commenting back and forth as far as my feelings and my thoughts about everything in the comment section, I felt like it was more appropriate for me to go ahead and do a video about how I felt about everything. And the fact is that I may have to do several parts because her testimony was so long. But I absolutely get it, because anybody that has been through narcissistic abuse knows that it's extremely hard to explain everything that you went through just in one particular part. So the fact that she had so many different parts and so many different things to recall definitely was a telling sign to me that this was something that she actually had gone through and actually experienced. Another reason that I'm doing this video is because I watched several other people review her testimony and the things that she had gone through, and a lot of those people were kind of I guess victim blaming, or not necessarily maybe victim blaming, but trying to say that she was using her story as a catalyst to like boost certain areas of her life, maybe financially or whatever the case may be. And for me, I'm going to say, me being somebody that has gone through this and experienced this, number one, it's extremely hard to tell your story. And the fact that people don't believe that whatever you've gone through is another hurdle to jump over, because we live in a society where when you put your business out there publicly, you make it available for people to judge you in either direction. And the fact that narcissistic abuse is one of those things where if you haven't experienced it, or if it's not something that you have seen with your own eyes, you're not going to probably relate to the victim that's coming out of the situation, because it's going to seem like, oh well, it don't seem that bad, or it's like psychological abuse and torture and things like that is it's so insidious, and it's so behind the scenes, and it's so like sneakily done that a lot of the outside world won't even realize that this is going on. And when you're trying to tell your story, it's like you have so many people judging your situation. Well, why'd you stay this long? Well, why'd you do this? Well, I would have left at this red flag, or I would have left at that red flag. People have different perspectives when they're in a situation. You know what I'm saying? People have different upbringings. People have different backgrounds. People have different outlooks on even relationships and other people that they have dealt with. People have different educational levels, all of that kind of stuff. So you can't say that, if you weren't in this situation and you weren't this particular person that was dealing with this, then you really don't know what that person was experiencing at that time. Now hindsight is always 2020, and we can always look back and say, oh yeah, sure, we should have saw this, or we should have saw that, or this person should have saw this, that, and the third, and I wouldn't have made that mistake, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times that's just our own pride telling us that we're better than what this person displayed, or we're better than this situation, or whatever the case may be, because we wouldn't have been naive enough to fall for it, when there's millions of people from all different walks of life that have fell for the same trap and fell for similar traps coming from narcissistic people, or cluster B individuals, sociopaths, psychopaths, whatever the case may be. But back to her story, one of the things that was kind of telling to me was, like I said, how many parts she had. I heard one guy that was kind of saying, well, why did she wait so long to tell her story? And again, for somebody that has experienced this myself, for like the first year and a half, you're trying to figure out what the hell just happened. You know what I'm saying? You're like, for the first year and a half, you are trying to still put the pieces together of like, okay, I was just in this situation. Everything seemed to be perfect. Everything seemed to be going well. And then all of a sudden, like the rug was like literally snatched from underneath me, and you were trying to like find your ground. And the narcissists want you there. They want you in that position of like being on shaky grounds, being unstable, because of the fact that that gives them the power to pretty much come and go and do what they please, while you are still trying to figure out, number one, what happened, and trying to figure out, okay, now how do I go on from here? So they place you in a situation where they kind of hope that you're paralyzed and can't move on and that kind of thing. And so the fact that it took her, I think she said this happened in like 2021 or something like that. Don't quote me. I may have mixed up the dates or whatever the case may be, because like I said, it was a very long testimony. I did watch it from part one all the way until the ending. So I am familiar with pretty much everything that she did say in the story. But like I said, one of the things that it just kind of blew my mind, that people were saying, well, why did she wait so long to come out and say this and that and the third? And like I said, coming from an abuse, like from a narcissistically abusive relationship myself, I can attest that when the discard first happens, or whenever you finally wake up to what's going on, number one, you are kind of like shocked at the fact that people are out here that actually move and act like that. So that's like a huge shock to a person that doesn't move like that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that doesn't try to manipulate people, someone that is not trying to control outcomes and things like that. We don't even think like that. So the fact that there are people that actually do think like that, it was like a wake-up call in its own right. And then on top of that, this person has been lying pretty much about every single thing that's happened in your entire relationship. And now you have to kind of go back and dissect the lies. And then you have to get to a place of choosing whether or not you want to uncover some of the lies that were already told, or, you know, if you want to even dig deeper, because you don't know how far the rabbit hole goes. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how long this person has been lying to you. You don't know how deep the lies go and that kind of thing. So the fact that it took her several years to come out with her story doesn't surprise me at all, coming from a narcissistic abuse survivor. Another one of the things, and I'm probably, like I said, I'm probably going to have to do this video in several parts because it's already getting kind of long. It's already almost at 8 minutes. So another thing that was kind of telling to me was when she talked about the phone calls, when she was talking about basically how the narcissistic individual that she was dealing with, Legion is what she called him. She basically was saying that he would fake phone calls, like make it seem like he was on the phone with someone when there was actually nobody really there, or maybe try to mask someone else as being another person. So for me, I know for me, that's something that I always was kind of leery about, because it seemed like anytime the narcissist that I was involved with wanted to avoid me in any type of way, especially if, like, even now, you know what I'm saying? Even now, a lot of you guys know a little bit about my story, and a lot of you guys know that I unfortunately have to continue to see the narcissist that I was involved with, due to the fact that we have a child together, that kind of thing. So the fact that we are in that situation, I have to still deal with this person. So with me having to still deal with this person, I noticed that she's always number one on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever she pulls up and she doesn't want to deal with me, she wants to keep me at arm's bay or whatever the case may be, she'll be just rambling on the phone. Yeah, and it's just like all, you know what I'm saying? It's just like this constant conversation that she's always having every time. It's like she'll pull up this Sunday and she'll be mid-conversation, like just in the middle of a conversation talking to somebody on the phone, and it's always her doing the talking. It's nobody, like, you never really hear anybody else in the background saying anything. Every once in a while she may actually be talking to a real person. I'm not saying that each and every single time, but have I seen the behaviors before where, and do I believe Reesa when she tells the story about him basically faking phone calls and things like that? I absolutely believe her because, like I said, there's been times where I've been like, you're not even on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even talking to nobody. There's nobody even on the other end. And there's been other times where I've been tempted to actually like call the phone just to see if it rings. Just, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, who feels like going through all of that with another grown person? Like, you shouldn't even have to play those type of childish games. But sometimes you just want to bust a narcissist out, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you've already like kind of caught on to what's going on and you just want to see, you know, how they respond to certain things. I don't I don't suggest doing that. I don't suggest like playing with the person and trying to, you know, continue to like open up a can of worms or anything like that. But at the same time, I do see where she was coming from with that, and I have seen that type of behavior before. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened in her situation, and I'm not saying that's exactly what happened in my situation, but I am saying that I have seen that behavior before. I have also questioned it, but by the time I started to question the behavior, I think I was just so withdrawn from the situation that I didn't really care to kind of follow up with this, with anything, as far as just seeing if, you know, if there was really somebody else on the other end of the phone, or whatever the you know, whatever the case may be. Because honestly, I felt like it was more so her just trying to avoid me. You know what I'm saying? Her knowing that she had been caught in certain lies and certain traps or whatever the case that she tried to set for me, and now instead of just owning up to the fact that these are the lies that she got caught in, and she was going to just try to avoid me at any cost. And one of the ways that she tried to avoid me at any cost is to always act like there's someone on the phone, there's something important that she's talking about on the phone, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. So that was one of the things that kind of stood out. And then, like I said, just going back to, I'm trying not to make this video too long, but another thing that kind of stood out to me, and like I said, I may have to do several parts to this because there was a lot to unpack in her story. But another one of the things, like Cat Williams just told us that one of the devil's tricks is to basically make us think that he doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that we all kind of know, and it's so many people that like agree with him when he said that. It was so many people that comment. There's so many times that clip was shown over and over and over. But I still see, I mean, just across social media and just across, you know, anytime they talk about relationships and things like that, there's a divide against the genders. It's like a gender war going on, to the point where it's like men against women, women against men, not realizing that this is all a spiritual war. Like, this is all spiritual, and a lot of men and women have begun to, number one, attack each other, but not even see that we are both basically talking about the same stuff. We're both talking about spiritual things. These are things that's happening in the spiritual realm, like the fact that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's not all men that dog women out, and it's not all females that dog men out, but there is something going on behind the spirit of these people that dog a lot of individuals out, and, you know, they live their life on that continuous cycle of just, you know, dogging people and cheating and lying and conniving and doing all types of, you know, ungodly stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we are so focused on, oh, men ain't this and women ain't that and this, that, and the third, when it's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? It's really based on like the spirit behind that person. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, even in, I mean, and it's sad because it works kind of both ways, because as a victim, as somebody that has been through this, trust and believe, people don't want to hear from a man telling their side of the story about being abused by a woman, especially in this day and age. You know what I'm saying? You are considered I don't care how strong of a man you are. I don't care how masculine of a man you are. I don't care how many dudes, you know what I'm saying, that you go out and whoop or whatever the case may be. You can be about that life 100-fold. You know what I'm saying. But as soon as you start to open up about your emotions, people are, you know, in this day and time, people gonna consider you weak, or, you know, and a lot of women will consider you, you know, weak, or you're feminine, or, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. When in reality, you just telling your story. Like, even me personally, I've had people come to my platform here and tell me, like one lady, she was like, "Oh, you on here crying like Rob Kardashian," and you know what I'm saying. And it was kind of like, at the time, I kind of took it like, you know, okay, it was kind of funny at the time, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, it made me realize that not everyone is going to be receptive to you telling your story. I don't care if you are, you know, completely innocent in the situation, or whatever the case may be, and, you know, you just want to get your story off your chest. People are still going to feel how they feel about it, and when you tell your story, you open up yourself and your story to judgment from other people. Not that it matters, and I think that's one of the things for us all to kind of get over, is the fact that, like, these people's opinion really don't matter, you know. But at the same time, you have to realize, like, there are people out here that are going to victim blame you. There are people out here that are going to be like, well, you should have saw that coming. There are people that have no empathy at all, and they're going to show you that they have no empathy. And you have to be strong enough to just navigate those waters and make it through to the other side. And like I said, I think that she did an extremely good job at telling her story. I think that the time that it took her may have been the time that it took her to, like, make sense of everything. And then on top of that, like I said, I don't feel like that this is a gender war like we kind of turned this into, but I did notice that, like, when a female tells her story, it does get a different type of hype, you know what I'm saying, a different type of attention. It does get a different level of attention, because when a man tells his story, it's kind of like, you're weak for telling your story, and that kind of thing. So like I said, I just want everybody to just get on the same page, that this isn't a gender war. This isn't a male against female type of thing. You guys have never, regardless of what I've been through in the narcissistic relationship that I was in, or any other relationship that I've been in, whether narcissistic or normal, natural, whatever, you have never heard me come on here and just bash all women, because I don't feel like that about all women. There are some beautiful, intelligent, amazing women out there that don't deserve to even be lumped in this category. But there are also some narcissistic women that are just as bad as some of these men that are out here. Excuse me, y'all, that's my computer shutting down. But there are some women that are just as bad as these narcissistic men that are out here, that you hear about on these stories, like Reesa's story. And there are women that have taken men through a lot of emotional turmoil and just, you know what I'm saying, been extremely terrible to a lot of men out here, and we are still kind of trying to pick the pieces up and build our lives back together as well, just the same way that it happens on women. So it's not a gender war or anything like that. It's not. It's all spiritual. It's all the spirit behind that person that you're dealing with. So I think that's one of the things that I kind of took away from it. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and shut this video down, because it's almost already like 20